The girl at the train station. It was late at night. Thomas carried a small suitcase and walked slowly along the empty road. He was tired. His shoes were wet. The rain had stopped, but the air was cold and heavy. He looked for the train station. Thomas had never been in this town before. His bus had broken down, and the driver told him, "You can take the midnight train from here." The problem was, Thomas didn't see any train station. Fog covered the street. He could not see more than a few meters ahead. Then he saw a light. A tall sign appeared in the fog. It said Graymore Station. Thomas felt a strange relief. Finally, he walked up the old stone steps. The station looked old, very old. The paint was falling from the walls. The windows were dirty, but there was a warm yellow light inside. He entered the station hall. It was silent, too silent. A big clock on the wall showed the time, 11:50 p.m. Thomas looked for someone, but the place was empty. Then he heard footsteps, soft footsteps. He turned. A little girl stood there. She wore a white dress and old leather shoes. Her hair was long and dark. She was looking at him. "Hello," Thomas said. The girl didn't answer. She tilted her head and stared at him. "Are you lost?" Thomas asked. The girl spoke very softly. "I'm waiting for the train," she said. Thomas smiled politely. "Me too. Do you know when it comes?" The girl looked at the clock. "Soon," she whispered. Her voice was calm, but her eyes looked tired. Thomas sat on a wooden bench. The girl sat at the other end. The fog outside was thicker now. He could not see the tracks, only the sound of distant water, maybe a river. "Where are you going?" he asked. "I want to go home," she said. "Where is home?" Thomas asked. The girl didn't answer. She just looked at the fog. A loud sound made Thomas jump. Clang! The station's big clock struck 12. The girl stood up. "It's time," she whispered. Thomas looked toward the tracks. He saw a dim light in the distance. A train was coming. The sound of the wheels on the tracks grew louder, but something felt wrong. The train's light was strange, too white, too cold, and it made no smoke. The girl stepped closer to the platform. "Wait," Thomas said. "Is this your train?" She turned to him and smiled faintly. "It's everyone's train," she said. Before the train arrived, Thomas noticed a station master's office. The door was half open. He stepped inside. Old papers covered the desk. A dusty newspaper lay on top. The headline read, "Tragedy at Graymore Station, 1954, Thomas read quickly. It told the story of a midnight train that crashed near the station in heavy fog. Many passengers died, including a little girl. Thomas's hands felt cold. He looked back to the platform. The girl was still there, waiting. He walked slowly toward her. "Listen," he said, "I think this train is..." The girl turned. "I know," she said. Her voice was almost sad. "I wait every night, but the train never takes me home." The train's light was closer now. Thomas could see its black shape in the fog. But something was strange. The train had no driver, no passengers, only empty windows and that cold white light. The girl reached for his hand. Her skin was icy. "Come with me," she whispered. "Maybe you can help me find my home." The train stopped without a sound. The doors opened slowly. Inside there was only darkness. Thomas looked in. He couldn't see the seats, only a faint blue glow deep inside. The girl stepped onto the train. "Come," she said again. Thomas hesitated. He felt the air pulling him toward the open door, like a silent wind. He looked back at the empty station hall. It seemed darker now. The clock had stopped moving. The girl's voice came from inside the train. "Please, I don't want to be alone again." Thomas stepped inside. The doors closed instantly. Inside, the train was much bigger than it looked from outside. The walls were covered in fog. Shadows moved in the corners, whispering in low voices. Thomas felt cold hands brush his arm. He turned to the girl. She was smiling now. "Thank you," she said softly. "For what?" Thomas asked. "For staying with me. Forever." The train began to move. Through the windows, Thomas saw not the town, not the tracks, but dark water stretching forever. Days later, a man waiting for a bus passed near Graymore Station. He saw the building for the first time in his life. Through the fog, he noticed movement on the platform. A little girl in a white dress. and a young man with a small suitcase, both standing, waiting for the midnight train.